So quick disclaimer before the video even gets started and before you start actually watching the video. A lot of it is not very noob friendly because I was not feeling very well during that time. So I did a lot of B-roll and not very much, basically no A-roll. So just be aware of that before you hop into the whole video because you might not understand some of the things that I'm doing. A lot of the things are not filmed correctly. So with that being said, consider subscribing. Let's get back to computers. We're gonna switch this Dell Optiplex that I got for $50 and we're gonna put it into this B-Vigor RGB case that I reviewed. So if you haven't seen that video, check it out. So the first thing I'm going to do is basically take the motherboard out of the case. It's just to screw basically all of the screws, and you pull it out to make sure you disconnect everything because you don't want to damage anything. And here's the reason I had to switch cases. The graphics card that I bought doesn't fit into the Dell Optiplex, so always make sure to check the card size before you buy anything. Now we just have this empty shell of a case, so just go in the garbage. Unscrewing this glass panel off of the case and put the motherboard in. But one thing I forgot to do is take out the IO shield from the old Optiplex thing, and this is hard. Like, I don't know why it was so difficult. As you can see, I am hitting it with a screwdriver and it still won't come out. So yeah, now we're just gonna basically install it, make sure it's installed the correct way, that it's facing, that all the ports are facing, and make sure it snaps. You can hear the snaps here. Now you just put the motherboard in kind of at an angle. Now what you want to do is basically just screw your motherboard down. So one of the cool things is the case came with a couple screws already for your motherboard, but since we're kind of switching, well, we're moving the motherboard from one case to another, I'm just going to reuse the same screws, but it does come with extra screws. Also, quick tip, if you have a magnetic screwdriver, it'll make things so much easier. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to be installing is the power supply. For this, I chose an EVGA BR Series 500, I believe. I'll link it down below because I don't remember which one it is. Since we have this cool little dust filter at the bottom, we're going to point this fan down. So we're going to install it like this. And just make sure all the little screw holes line up because, you know, you want them to line up. Okay, so well, I feel like I could have probably done some better camera work on this, but I was just not feeling very well during that time. No, but I'm feeling better, feeling great, feeling fresh, like a lettuce. You're supposed to be routing the cable through the bottom into the top middle hole, back into it, and then connecting the motherboard.
What?
As you can see here, I am struggling to connect the motherboard because apparently I was struggling with a lot of things back then, but I probably should have done a better job. For the motherboard, it's going to be a little long cable called MB, and that's what you're going to connect to the motherboard. Oof. Okay, so we got these little switches that are so difficult to connect. But you saw the power LEDs. These are the power switches, and we got HD audio, USB 2.0, and there should be a USB 3.0, but these are just so difficult to connect, really. Could have probably done it with the motherboard off. Might have been easier if the cables reached. Okay, so those cables are connected. I will throw up a chart where they're supposed to be connected to because you can clearly not see anything. So, since the case didn't come with any fans, I'm going to be reusing this tiny little fan that comes with the Dell Optiplex for the back. As you can see, you just pull the fan out like that, and we got ourselves a free fan, which wasn't free, but... So now that all the little cables are connected, I'm going to connect this case fan, but since it doesn't line up with the screw holes in the back, so what I'm doing is basically just zip tying the fan. I'm just going through the little holes in the back. I took the rubber things off of the fan, and I'm just putting it through it, you know, just better video of everything that I'm doing. But like I said, I just was not feeling very well. Here you can see that I connected the fan. You don't know where I connected it, but I connected it. Well, exactly where you disconnected it from when you took it out is where you should connect it, when you're putting it back in. So the next thing I'm going to be installing in this fan. It's a Rosewool fan that I got for like $2 when it was on sale. So that's going to give it a cool little glow. And we're going to be installing this into the front of the case. Now, somebody mentioned that where I'm about to put this fan is where you're supposed to put the hard drive and not the fan. And somebody else mentioned that you're supposed to take the front panel off to install the fan. I didn't do that. So this is not the correct way to install the fan on this case. I don't know. The front panel does not want to come off. But yeah, I'm just going to be installing it with the same procedure that I installed the back fan with. A couple zip ties through a couple holes and it's attached. It's not attached right there, but you know what I'm saying. So right here I'm going to be installing, the first one is the USB 2.0, and then the second one is the HD audio. So that's where you're going to be installing. Just make sure you're putting them in correctly, because you might break a pin and then it might not work. So just be aware of the direction you're installing them. So I'm going to be installing this ADATA SU650 or something like that. It's a 250GB SSD card. Apparently where that front fan is where you're supposed to be putting the SSD or your hard drives. But clearly I wasn't reading the manual, so I routed it through the back. I just did it like that. But yeah, it's supposed to be in the front. So here you can just see me doing that. And then we're just going to connect our SSD. I connected mine to 0. I don't know if it makes a huge difference, but I did that. And so here I'm just going to be routing more cables and connecting the SATA power cable to the SSD. And just cleaning up the rest of the case from here. So I'm just going to be removing these screws right here, and this is where our graphics card is going to go. Push these in because we need them to leave. So before you do that, just make sure you line up the graphics card where they're supposed to be and bend those middle tabs out. So you can see here I'm just bending them in. One of the things I forgot to do was take off the thing up top, so make sure you take that off because I actually forgot to do that. That's why it wasn't going in. There we go. And then from here we can actually install the graphics card. Put it into the first slot. And then just put everything back the way that you took it off and you should be good to go. Alright, so now we're going to be connecting the power supply to the graphics card. It's a little thing called GPU. It should have it on the tab named GPU. You're going to be connecting these directly to the top of the graphics card, like that. Zip tying some stuff down, and we're just going to be putting the back panel back onto the back. So test number 1, hopefully everything fits. I know it fits because I already did it. And also we're going to put the glass panel back on the computer, and we are done with the build. Pretty simple. Turns on, we got a red light, we got everything turning on, and we should be posting. And build complete. It wasn't really a build, but it was a case swap. We finished the build and everything's good, but one of the main issues with this build was that the graphics card didn't actually work. You see, I bought it used on eBay, and I know how a lot of you don't like eBay stuff, but whatever. So I bought it used on eBay, And it also seems as if the GPU is failing because, as you can see here, the screen is looking like a complete mess in the Division 2. Games such as Call of Duty Warzone didn't even load because they had an error. That could be because they had problems with the servers or something when I tried to play it, and it's not looking very good. But I think that the GPU was actually about to die, and so it just wasn't gonna work. So I did get a refund. Make sure that you're buying from trusted sellers that are actually rated well on eBay, because that way if something doesn't work or if there's an issue with it, you can just contact them and get your money back, because this one actually didn't work. That's also why a lot of gameplay isn't recorded properly. A lot of the games didn't want to record directly onto the computer using the Radeon Live recording software, and I don't have an external capture device to record. So it's like artifacting and not having enough FPS, enough textures, the stuff isn't loading. I can't speak 100% on how well the computer performs because of that issue. But since I already had the video, since I already had the clips, I just decided to release it. And if you don't like it, well, what can I do about it? But yeah, if you can find a graphics card that actually works, I think you'll have some decent FPS. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say. Thank you guys for almost getting me to 300 subs. I know most of you aren't subscribed, so if you do like the content, consider subscribing. Or if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, go ahead and give it a thumbs down and leave some comments down below. Some of you are very vocal and like that. Go ahead and leave your comments down below, because it does help the algorithm notice me a little bit more. But other than that, I'll leave you guys with some gameplay, if there's any gameplay, and I will see you when I build another computer. Take care, guys, and have a nice day. So I've been sick before I released the other videos, and before this one's from August 2021. I got COVID and I can't taste anything, so enjoy me drinking this apple cider vinegar.